What's good? You know what it is. Unconventionally Mouse, aka Mr. Frequent Flyer Mouse. Another episode of Soul Food Sunday. I hope your Sunday was good. Hopefully everybody who normally views this woke up today. Good health, good spirits, good wealth. I hope your last week that just passed was awesome. I hope your upcoming week is even better, but give me about 10 or 15 minutes of your time. I want to ask you a few questions, and this is something I want you guys to think about within your personal lives. Do you allow external individuals to create your happiness? Do you look for other people to create happiness within yourself? Or do you create happiness from you, right? Is happiness something that's created through your spouse, your kids, your family, the money you make? How do you receive your happiness? How do you make sure you attain happiness each and every day? And if you look for outside sources to determine if you're happy or it's going to control your mood, I just want you to think again. Happiness should always be internal. You should be able to control how happy you are day to day, right? That keeps your energy up. And the happiness that you have not only helps yourself, it helps others, because you're walking in a room or you're around people with a certain green cloud of joy and happiness and success, which doesn't necessarily have to mean money, right? If you're not checking out the Two Brains One Goal podcast, make sure you check it out, man. You get an hour long of good content. We're starting to have guests. You can call in, you know what I mean? So go look at my YouTube, Motivation and Consistency. So MOTIVATION, then the letter N, and then consistency spelled out on YouTube. Make sure you check that out. But one of the things I wanted to ask you is, have you ever heard this statement? And is this true, and do you see this? I was told that traditionally in today's time, when a man finally gets his big break and he makes money, the first thing he want to do is take care of his family and make his kids happy and make his loved ones happy, mom, spouse, so on and so forth. But now they're saying when women get their big break and they make a ton of money, they want to be independent and want to be boss bees and et cetera, right? I see both of it taking place. I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm not saying I agree totally. I'm just saying I see it. I understand the statement. What do you guys feel about that? Is that something you see? Are you the person that's the man in that situation or the woman that's in that situation? And on the flip side, I can't say how a woman should feel. I'm not a woman, but I can say the young ladies that I speak to a lot, they just explain to me they don't want to depend on anybody. Period. Man, mother, father, etc. But I always ask that question I'm not going to use the word submission. The word I want to use is, if you're in a relationship and you're not giving it your all, and once you finally get what you always wanted, and then you leave or you want to be by yourself, why ever be in a relationship? Because you got one foot in and one foot out. And anytime you have a backup plan, especially in a relationship, you'd be surprised on how fast you will remove yourself from something that seemed like it's about to go bad, right? Once again, a man shouldn't control your happiness, and a woman should not control your happiness either. You got to be happy within yourself. And the more you understand why you're in a situation and why you're there, and the joy you get out of being there based upon you and the effort and motivation and the consistency and the love you're bringing to that relationship, then it doesn't matter how it turns out. Just don't be a person who be foolish to allow somebody to degrade you or waste your time, right? Also with communication, you can understand how a person feels, and that's going to allow you to determine if you want to stay or go, you want to be a part of it or not, right? So the main purpose of this topic on Soul Food Sunday is like, make yourself happy first. And when you're the best version of you, no one can take that away from you. But when you're looking for someone else to make you happy, they can take that away from you whenever they feel, because you gave them too much power to control your moods and emotions. You know, hold yourself accountable for every day waking up and being the best you. Hold yourself accountable. Be disciplined. All right. Today is totally different than 20, 30 years ago. Marriage used to mean way more 10, 20 years ago than it does now. And you just see more people want to be single for whatever reason, or more people would rather be in a relationship and not be married because they're scared of the outcome, right? If you finally really worked up for something and you get into a relationship and that person gives you half, or you got to give up half, and It's just crazy at this standpoint, but I respect it and I understand it for individuals who want to get married and they don't think like that, and the individuals who don't because they don't want to lose everything they work for, right? So it's a tough pill to swallow, to feel as if you don't want to give your all because you don't want to be hurt and you don't want to give up everything that you worked so hard for, and it's just taken away in a drop of a dime, you know? So me, I pride myself in any relationship I be in to make sure that I'm in it basically for the love and the long haul. I'm not in it for any monetary gain. I don't let outside noise determine how I'm going to be with someone else. I have my own mind. I'm not persuaded on what I feel about a person because I take my time to really get to know them. Another thing is, man, I know a lot of my homegirls and my homeboys, it's like they're in relationships and they thought once they proposed or once they got into a situation that is basically we love each other, things was going to change. The man was going to starting to provide and the woman was going to start being different because we're looking to take that next step. And sorry to say is that you can't change a person. A person has to grow on their own, or they may never grow. And if you're looking at somebody and you're basing things on their potential and what you think they're going to become down the line, a lot of time they're not going to meet your standard, right? So you got to date, attract, hang around, be business partners with individuals based upon when you meet them, who they are. Accept them for who they are. If they show you who they are, believe them. Don't try to change them. Definitely don't try to change them, because you're going to end up getting yourself hurt based upon the expectation and the interpretation of what somebody could be and not who they are, right? If I meet you and you're a liar, you're a liar. If I meet you and you're loyal. But at the same time, it takes a certain period of getting to know a person to determine if this is them or this is their representative, right? Create your own happiness. Whatever that is. For me, sometimes it's just solitude, not being around a ton of people, making sure I get some time to myself, quietness, make sure I can really think and understand my thoughts. I'm not ever going to move on somebody else's time or merit unless it's a deadline that I agreed to. You know, like I know a ton of a good amount of women that just in my situation, they made a they put themselves in a situation whereas they took another route, and when they finally realized the route they took, they try to come back to the person that they turned down. Men do it all the time as well. You look for the shiny new toy, and the person who really care about you, you kind of did them dirty, right? And then when you realize the shiny new toy is not shiny, you want to come back to the person who always loved you. One of the biggest things I heard recently is date who likes you. Date who likes you. That's not settling. The person who really likes you and cares about you is the one who's going to go all out for you. Whereas the individual you like may not really be paying you any attention, right? So it's definitely some relatability that we all can look at, right? And I'm not saying don't really put time in to get to know anyone, but sometimes we chase people that we clearly know they don't want to be with us or like us. And we try our hardest to keep chasing them, and we forget who really cares about us in the mix of the whole transition of trying to convince someone. Like I said earlier, I'm not in the business of trying to convince you to care about me, like me, want to talk to me at all. If you don't like me, I get it. The feeling is mutual. But I'm not going to go out of my way to show you that type of energy, right? Create your happiness. Be disciplined. Organically try to build relationships that you guys can build happiness amongst one another within that relationship. I think a lot of things that are free, people don't accept, right? A lot of times individuals are looking for all the right things in all the wrong places, right? Don't look for the right things in the wrong places. Pay attention to what's in front of you and always give that what's in front of you time. That doesn't mean if somebody like you, you have to be with them. But I'm going to show appreciation of you really caring about me and my well-being, right? I'm not ever trying to hurt anybody's feelings if I don't feel the same way about you that you feel about me, romantically. But as far as friendship, yeah, like I'm always going to reciprocate that. But once again, don't look for anyone to provide you a happiness, because they could take away that energy. And if they take away that energy, you may be lost. You don't want to be someone out here lost and don't know how to get yourself up every morning, right? Rejection hurts, but it happens in life. Start looking inside yourself and seeing what makes you happy, what you can do each and every day to make sure you're happy with yourself. Whatever that is. For me, it's waking up in the morning. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes I want to stay in the bed and just get a few more hours of sleep. But I'm happy I woke up. I'm happy I got the privilege to wake up this morning. You know, I'm starting to realize as I get older, life isn't promised. And one thing we don't have is time. So I try to make sure every moment I get, I'm trying to take these steps to create moments that's going to last as long as I'm on this earth. And I expect you guys to do the same, you know? So if you're looking at this on TikTok, make sure you check my Instagram, Mr. Frequent Flyer Miles. If you're checking this on Instagram, make sure you check my TikTok, Unconventionally Miles. If you're checking this on TikTok or Instagram, make sure you go look at my YouTube, Motivation, the letter N, then the word consistency. On my YouTube, you're going to get long form content. So you're going to get the whole Two Brains, One Goal episode. Usually we do it every Sunday, or every Friday or every other Friday. You're going to get about an hour of gems. We having guests come on. You can call in. You can state your piece. If you got a good point or you want to add value, feel free to call in. So my next Soulful Sunday, I'm going to add that number, and I'm going to start letting you guys know when we're going live on Facebook during the podcast, or when you could call in to chime in and touch on some topics. The whole goal of the Unconventionally Miles podcast is to create a community of positivity, motivating one another, educating, inspiring, right? People getting out there and trying to be better than what they are, and finding the motivation from hopefully this podcast and this community to really feel like, you know what, I could do whatever I put my mind to, and I'm not going to let anyone stop me. And if I'm ever feeling down, I got a community of people who are organically willing to help one another, and building this energy within myself to be confident. No one's coming to save you. You got to save yourself. And saving yourself is putting your best foot forward, right? And chasing your dreams and your goals. As a kid, imagination was a beautiful thing. Just because you're an adult, don't let your imagination run amok. Utilize that imagination to tap into those skills that you really want to hone and make your passion, right? No one wants to work a 9-to-5 or work for anyone else, but the difference between the individuals who own their own business and they're successful within their businesses, they took the chance and they took the leap of faith to really go after it, and no matter what anyone says, they're gonna do it. You can't stop that. You can't stop a person who know what they want. They consistently know who they are, and they're willing to not care about the popular vote, not be the popular person. It's always going to cost for you to be someone else, but it's free to be yourself, and you was made uniquely. So why not really hone that and take that and do what you need to do with it? So just wanted to jump on Soulful Sunday today to give you something to think about. Once again, do you look for others to make you happy, or do you garner confidence from within yourself? And if you look for happiness amongst other people, try to minimize that, right? If you have kids, your kids is going to grow up to get married. If you have a spouse, it's great to have happiness within one another, but sometimes you need to be able to go on your own and in your corner and separate from your spouse or your significant other and do things you like to do, right? Don't ever lose yourself in a relationship where you can't be yourself anymore, and everything that you care about, you move it to the back burner, right? You start to resent the person you with when that happens. So Unconventionally Miles on TikTok, Mr. Frequent Flyer Miles on Instagram, Motivation and Consistency on YouTube. Make sure you go check my YouTube, Motivation, the word, and Consistency on my YouTube. We're going to be dropping the Two Brains, One Goal podcast episode 4/5. We talked about a lot of great topics, and we really want you to chime in, share, comment, subscribe. And that's what it is. Unconventionally Miles, aka Mr. Frequent Flyer Miles. Soulful Sunday. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you taking time to listen. I'm out. Enjoy your week. 1.